Thank you, everybody, for being here today. We'll go ahead and get started here very quickly. I'd like to introduce Georgia Tech President, Dr. Angel Cabrera. Dr. Cabrera, if you'd like to open us up with some remarks, then Jay will make some remarks, and then we'll open up for Q&A. So, Dr.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's nice to be with you again to introduce you to Georgia Tech's new athletic director, Mr. Jay Batt. I'm very, very excited. As you know, we announced his appointment last Friday, and today it's just a pleasure to officially introduce him to the Yellow Jacket family. It's terrific that you and your dear family was able to share this moment with us. Last time when we were together, I was clear that I'm committed to making sure that Georgia Tech has a successful athletics program on par with our very proud standing in research and as an academic institution. This is one step in that journey. We moved quickly to place Jay because we knew he was absolutely the right person for the job. We completed a national search with the help of an outside firm, and I'm very grateful to a committee that reviewed the finalists. We had representatives from faculty, from students, from alumni, donors, from administrators in the athletics team, from all the different constituencies, and it was clear that Jay was our choice, was the top choice for this job. With the input of the committee, I then presented Jay's name to the Georgia Tech Athletics Association board that unanimously and enthusiastically approved my choice last Friday. As you know, Jay comes from the University of Alabama, most recently, although he has worked for a variety of different institutions. At Alabama, he was most recently Executive Deputy Director of Athletics, Chief Operating Officer, and Chief Revenue Officer. His leadership in one of the most competitive athletic programs in the nation and his extraordinary track record in fundraising and revenue generation will bring great value to Georgia Tech. He also has firsthand knowledge of what it is like to be a student athlete at a top academic institution. From our discussions, I am convinced that his values line up very nicely with our culture of excellence and integrity and our commitment to student well-being and success. Jay will report directly to me, and he will be a member of my cabinet. He will start on October 24th. And if the past few days are any indication, he has already hit the ground running. So I think it's going to be an incredibly fast and effective transition. He will spend some time next sharing his thoughts about his new role. We know everyone is speculating on the appointment of a permanent head football coach, and obviously that will be a very important item on his agenda over the next few weeks. But today, we don't have really any updates on that subject. Today, it's about Jay, what brought him here, what attributes make him the right person to lead us forward. There are several people I would like to thank for their help over the past 3 weeks. Obviously, as I mentioned, the faculty, alumni, student, coach, and administration representatives who interviewed all finalists. Among them, I want to highlight David Rowland, who's the retired CEO and chairman of Accenture, and Mark Teixeira, 5-time Gold Glove Award winner and 2009 World Series champion. The two of them, together with Frank Neville, spent untold hours during this process and were critical in getting us here. They offered invaluable advice to me. Frank Neville deserves additional and special thanks for his service as interim athletics director. He's busy today in ACC meetings, so he couldn't be with us. But his dedication and focus to this work over the past month has been invaluable at a time when Georgia Tech needed it most. Back to Jay, we're excited to have you here I know you and your family, the boys, you guys are going to love Atlanta. You're going to love Georgia Tech. This is a fun city to be part of. You're going to have a great time here. All of us within the Georgia Tech Athletics Association and throughout the Institute stand ready to support you, to work with you as we move our athletics programs forward. I know you're anxious to talk to him, so without any further ado, welcome to the team again, Jay, and go Jackets.
Thank you, sir. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time. I'd like to start with a couple of thank yous. Chief among those, a thank you to President Cabrera. Thank you for allowing me to join your team. The vision you showed throughout this process was one of many reasons to join this team, but certainly one that I appreciate and can't tell you how much I appreciate the opportunity to join you. Also want to thank the Georgia Tech Athletic Association Board of Trustees for the faith they've shown in me to join this team and to be part of this incredible program. I also take a minute to thank many mentors along the way, many friends in this business. Chief among those, and most recently, I'd like to make a special thank you to Greg Byrne, Director of Athletics at the University of Alabama, and my teammates there. I've had the opportunity to work there for over 5 years and made incredible contributions to me personally and professionally, and so a thank you to that group as well. Most importantly, today and really every day, I want to thank my family. My family coming along, my family growing up has made so many sacrifices and have supported this journey in so many different ways. And so a thank you to them. A special thank you to my wife, Leah, who's here today. I think all of us who work in college athletics know that to be able to serve student athletes on a daily basis, to be able to serve our institutions in these leadership roles requires a special support system at home. And so, Leah, you're my rock. You have been incredible throughout this journey, and you are today. So if you'll stand and be recognized. I can't wait for the Georgia Tech community to get to meet her. She's an incredible person. I'd also like to recognize and say thank you to my boys, Fitz and Graham, who are here today. Thank you, guys. I appreciate everything you do. Stand up and be recognized, guys.
Whoa.
Now, let me tell just a few minutes on why I'm here. I'm a college athletics idealist at heart. I believe that college athletics is an incredible enterprise. I believe in the impact and opportunity it can have on a young person's life through intercollegiate athletics. I believe the impact on a fan base can be truly invigorating and unifying. I believe the model for higher education includes an incredible athletics program. And that model for higher education and athletics inclusion is Georgia Tech. It's the reason I'm here. Georgia Tech represents the very best of world-class academics and world-class athletics. To be very clear, this is a unique advantage for Georgia Tech in the marketplace and in amongst intercollegiate athletics. It's something we plan to celebrate and recruit to going forward. I'm truly honored to be here and build off the tradition of this incredible place, a place with 5 team national championships, multiple individual national champions, and a legacy of leadership that has led to the College Football Player of the Year, the Heisman Trophy, College Football Coach of the Year, the Bobby Dodd, and the College Athletic Director of the Year, the Homer Rice Award, all being named for Georgia Tech leaders. This is an incredible place to start. This legacy alone can't sustain us, however, and so going forward, I look forward to locking arms with our student athletes, our donors, our fans, to pull together this incredible Atlanta community to help reach new levels of success. I've already met with our coaches and our staff this morning, and we'll be meeting with our student athletes later this afternoon to start this process. These new levels of success will also take new levels of investment. That's financial investment, but also investment by every fan of Georgia Tech to do everything you possibly can to support these great student athletes and coaches. I've also reached out to some donors and supporters over the weekend, and thus far, I've been incredibly encouraged by what I've heard from them. Over the coming weeks, I look forward to getting to know as many members of the community as possible. I'm hopeful you'll find that we'll be focused on serving our student athletes as job one. See some of them here today. That's truly will be one of our focuses. As well, we'll focus on meeting the needs of our fans, our donors, and our supporters. Work every day to build inclusive culture and an inclusive culture of excellence across our department. We're going to operate in a compliant way that will make every Georgia Tech alum proud, and we'll be good stewards of the resources you might send our way. At the end of the day, we will elevate our success across all sports to be one of the very best in the ACC and in the country. The opportunity here is incredible, and I can't wait to get started. I'm truly humbled. I'm honored to join this incredible Atlanta community and to join this team. Thank you so much, and go Jackets.
Okay, we'll now open it up for questions for Dr. Cabrera and for Jay. Please raise your hand to get a microphone. Also, please introduce yourself and the outlet that you represent so Jay can start putting faces with names. So with that, we'll go ahead and start here with Rod.
Jay, you're coming into a athletic department that has had success down the road, and naturally, the football program is the cash cow for the program. Does that allow you to narrow your focus when you're getting started here?
I'd say that all of our sports are important. Success broadly is important. Certainly the football program is important. And, once I get here, certainly dig into that and spend time around that.
Kelly?
I'm Kelly Quinlan. I work for Jackets Online on the Rivals Network. Just curious about kind of what you've learned about football. Obviously, that's the big kind of thing. You were at one of the most successful places in the world, and obviously you've worked at other places. Just kind of what are you looking for from a football program, and kind of how do you measure success, I guess, relative to your peers?
I've been at a lot of different places, and so that success has looked different at all those different institutions. So certainly we'll get here, spend time looking, listening, watching, and figuring out exactly what that success looks like when I hit the ground. But it's all certainly something that we'll be working towards every day.
Dan Matthews, 6A, The Fan. You mentioned your work with Greg Byrne over at Alabama, and seemingly he's been able to get other sports to find success as well. What did he necessarily teach you about that, of parlaying the success of the football program and leading it into other programs?
Sure. Greg Byrne's an incredible leader and an awesome athletic director. I had the pleasure to learn from him every single day throughout the past 5 years. His ability to promote comprehensive excellence across the athletic department is something I would certainly hope to emulate here. It comes down to that standard of excellence being every day and being pervasive throughout the department, and that's something we're going to work towards each and every day here.
Ken?
Hey, Jay, I'm Ken Segura with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Welcome to Atlanta.
Thank you.
I have a question for both men. Obviously, you're coming in unusual circumstances where your first decision will be arguably the most important you'll make in your job. What gives you the confidence that, as not having had this experience before, that you can go in and make that decision? And secondly, for you, Dr. Barry, you mentioned that he was absolutely the right person for the job. Kind of with that in mind, but also just more broadly, what gives you that perspective?
You want to start?
Well, I as I said, I mean, he is just a perfect fit for what we need. And sure, I think Alabama has been blessed with a very successful and steady leadership on the football side. But that experience of having been involved, having experienced excellence, and having been part of a team that has produced that consistent level of success on the football side, I think that will serve us incredibly well as we're looking for who should be the permanent leader of our football program. But the choice of Jay is not just about football. Clearly, that is the first item of business that we're going to be working and supporting him as he makes his decision. But we just recruited an athletic director to manage our program long term. And a big part that we're we're all facing throughout intercollegiate athletics is also resources. We need additional resources to be as competitive as we want to be. That's an area where he brings incredible experience. We also need to be able to navigate this new space of NIL and transfer portal. I mean, there is this world of intercollegiate athletics is undergoing pretty dramatic transformations, and we need someone who can help us lead the way through that, but always grounded on integrity and understanding on the values and what we believe in. So when you put all that together, I think that's what led us to the decision that Jay was the absolute perfect fit for this.
Can I just add that I think your question about the football coaching hire, I think at the end of the day, I've worked at several different institutions across the board. And so my approach to the football hire won't be singular in that, coming from Alabama, it'll be broad based on all my different experiences. And I think, at the end of the day, I'll use my entire network of intercollegiate athletics contacts to find the perfect fit for Georgia Tech.
Zach?
Hey, Jay, Zach Klein with Channel 2 here in Atlanta. Welcome.
Thank you, John.
Obviously, the football coaching decision will take some time, let the season play out. But once you find out where your office is, you get a place to live, what are the top two things, or top two or three things on your to-do list that you want to narrow out in the near future?
I'll tell you, I'm going to find the office and the coffee first. Certainly, as Dr. Cabrera said, resource generation, development, fundraising, finding a way to develop a long-term plan, working with our university administration, partnering across campus, finding opportunities to get some wins with our folks is going to be important. And then certainly, yes, we'll tackle that football decision in time. But certainly, I got to find the coffee first. So that's job one.
Jeff?
Jeff Schultz of The Athletic here in Atlanta. As you said, you've worked at different places, but you're coming from the extreme at Alabama, where athletics and football are viewed through an entirely different prism as here. How much did you think about that before you came here? And, how difficult of a transition will that be? And then one follow-up question, of all the places you've worked out, what job would you say you've had that had maybe closest to a similar mission as Georgia Tech before?
I'll start that. I think one of the things that makes me uniquely positioned to enjoy this opportunity to step into Dr. Cabrera's team is that my time as a student athlete. As a student athlete that juggled what I think is a high-level athletics experience and high-level academics, probably is the most qualifying aspect to step into an athletic director role anywhere, particularly at Georgia Tech. I think that's really important.
Rod?
Can you walk us, I'm sorry, Rod McKenzie, I'm with 247 Sports. Can you walk us through how you came in contact with Georgia Tech regarding the job, and were you surprised at how quickly the process went?
I'll defer to the president who ran the search. That's okay.
Yeah. Well, he very quickly made it to the impressive list of candidates that we looked at. And I was very pleased that very quickly the level of interest in the industry among intercollegiate athletics administrators has been incredibly high interest. We've attracted really an unbelievably high quality level of candidates. He was one of those. And as you can imagine, if you've been part of these processes, you spend a lot of time going through the names and filtering it and getting additional information, and that's how he really very quickly came to the top of that list. So we were committed to making sure the search would be a fast one. It's important, first of all, for the health of our athletic program, not to have a long transition. I think you heard Frank Neville when we introduced him as interim that his first goal was to get himself out of the job. So I thanked him for delivering on that promise. He was very helpful during that. So we wanted to have a search and a transition that would be quick. We didn't want to engage in a. Now, if you had asked me at the time, I would have expected it to be a little bit longer when we found this gentleman right here, I think that made the decision very easy and a lot faster than what we had anticipated.
Cal?
Jay, I was curious, you were at Maryland when they made the transition from the ACC to the Big Ten, and obviously now everyone's interested in both the landscape of conferences and how that's changing and revenues there. And then also, I was just curious kind of what you learned from being in that situation where they were obviously in financial constraints at the time and tough times to kind of build on, and you did the same thing, I think, at ECU, raising money. Georgia Tech's obviously in a similar situation where they need to raise more capital. Kind of what did you learn from those situations, and also what are you looking for with conference affiliation?
Well, I'll start with conference. The ACC is among the very best in the country, and I couldn't be more proud to be stepping into an institution that's a part of the ACC. It's in incredible shape, and truly proud to be part of the ACC. I think your question about fundraising and about leading through challenges and change comes down to relationships, right? And so relationships with donors, relationship with community members, relationships across an institution, or those sorts of things that allow you to navigate challenging times and change. And so I think that that would probably be the takeaway for you.
Zach?
Just following up on the fundraising aspect, one would think and assume it's safe to say when you're having success in major sports, it's easier to fundraise. The challenge is obviously there when it's not. So what's the pitch to those alumni that you hope to get in front with and saying the vision of Georgia Tech is what?
I'd say that after we find the coffee, we'll nail that down exactly. I think the pitch of Georgia Tech at the end of the day is that this is the perfect model of what intercollegiate athletics should be. This world-class academic institution with world-class athletics is something worth investing in. And so at the end of the day, how we do that, how we go about it, what are the specific projects we tackle with that investment, we'll get to that. We'll get to that when we get here. There's already incredible vision and leadership for this institution from our president, and so we're going to fall right in line with that and continue to find our way forward.
Time for a few more. Jeff?
This is for both Dr. Cabrera and Jay. The Tech has had some job changes at both AD and the football coaching level over these last few years, and it's been a polarizing atmosphere many times. I'm just wondering how important you both feel it is to basically unite the alumni and donors and fan base, because it seems like it's been a while since that's been the case here.
Well, I would characterize our recent history as a reasonably stable one, considering the overall context of athletics in terms of sort of the length of tenure, and so I think we overall have provided a very kind of a steady leadership. So I don't know exactly what you refer to, but what I can tell you is, if the last 4 or 5 days are any sign, is like the overwhelming majority of all the calls, the emails, the social media of all alumni could not have been any more enthusiastic, positive about the future. So really our experience, our most recent experience has been the Georgia Tech community is ready to band in together and move forward. It's been really, really exciting.
I'd echo that exact sentiment, that in the last several days, as I've gotten to know supporters and fans, and whether it be social media, some of my early conversations, it's been incredibly positive. Everybody's excited about the future, and so that would be my thought.
We have time for a couple more before we wrap up. Kelly?
2 things. One, just curious how you would evaluate Brent Key in the interim situation, and kind of what are you looking for there? And then the second one, people will kill me if I don't ask this, but there's a lot of people, you're a former soccer player, and there's a lot of people interested in that. Is that something that you would like to see at Georgia Tech in the future, like a soccer program for men and women's sports? Obviously, the rest of the ACC has it for the most part.
I think, unfortunately, my eligibility's up. Not unfortunately, no. Listen, I appreciate both those questions. I appreciate where you're coming from. I know you've got to ask them both. Still looking for the coffee, so let me get here. We'll dive into it. I appreciate both those questions.
And I appreciate the rigor of that answer because I am a huge soccer fan. So I've been the one saying, when are we playing soccer? And I think the answer is the right one. I mean, well, we'll see. These are very difficult decisions that need to be made.
Anything else? Ken? You want to wrap this up?
Again, question for both you guys. Dr. Cabrera, at the press conference a couple weeks ago, I'll quote what you said. He said, "I am committed to doing anything that needs to happen to return our program to the place where it belongs." And he also said you wanted to equip the new ADJ with whatever resources they need to turn this program around. I was hoping you could provide more specifics. And on your part, Jay, I'm sure you're aware of that. What are you seeking or wanting to know? What can we have in terms of support from the institution?
Yeah, but I said it and I repeat it. We are fully committed, and committed in terms of maximizing the value, the potential, the opportunity for Georgia Tech athletics. So we're going to be working together and figuring out what are the appropriate sources of resources, where are the areas where we need to invest. Obviously, we have a great leader with Jay, but Jay is by no means going to be alone in this. We're all in this together. So we have had already, even in the brief days, we've already had great conversations with Institute administration. We've had in constant collaboration and conversations with the Georgia Tech Foundation, the very first calls with donors. So the answer, Ken, is we're committed to working together to identify the areas that need investment, study where the funds were the best, the optimal sources of those funds, and to go and secure them together.
I would just echo that that sentiment exactly was shared with me throughout the process that the Institute's committed to athletics, and so with the leadership shown by Dr. Cabrera, that's what I needed to know.
Well, thanks again, everybody, for coming out. Dr. Cabrera, Jay, thank you guys, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Thanks again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.